Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am here with my best friend, Grandmaster Ori Kobo, also from Israel. Welcome, Ori.
Thank you, Nitzan. Glad to be here with you.
Yes. So today we are in Israel camp here in Jerusalem, and we are, a lot of very good players, grandmasters, international masters, and we gather here to play, to think, to analyze openings with our coach, Grandmaster Michael Royce.
And to watch the candidates.
Yes. Yes, right. So after a tough day here, we would like to recap the first round of the candidates tournament. So first of all, Ori, tell me which is your prediction or who you want to win this tournament.
Yeah, that's a good question. I really want Praggnanandhaa to win the tournament. I think he's my favorite. I'm not sure if he will manage to. I think some other players have a bit more experience and maybe a higher chance to win the tournament, but I will go with Prag as my favorite.
Yes. So I can tell you guys also that Praggnanandhaa is someone that we also know because we played a lot of tournaments with him. So
When
we
he was
know.
a little boy.
Yes, he was like 10 years old, I think, or maybe 11, or maybe like maybe 9 years old also because today he's like something like 16 or 17.
Yeah, maybe 18. Not sure.
Maybe 18, right? So we played in Gibraltar in 2017, right?
Yeah, you were sitting next to him
Next to him.
almost every game.
Yes, every game. So he's very, very talented, and also my prediction for this tournament that he will win it. So let's start. Let's start with the first round. I must admit that I was in Roma with my girlfriend, and so we will start a little bit late because today is already the seventh round, but we will start in the first round. A little bit recap. We will talk about the games, analyze. We'll listen about very good things from Ori, and yeah.
Yeah, so let's start maybe with the first game from round one. So we have here Nijat Abasov with the white pieces against Jan Nepomniachtchi. And basically, Abasov is kind of a wild card in this tournament. I think it's the first time in the history of the candidates that we have a player who is dramatically lower rated compared to all the others after qualifying from an amazing World Cup that he played last year in Baku. And it will be very interesting to see how he does in this tournament against such a strong field. And I think everybody predicted that this tournament is going to be very tough, which is very logical.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he might surprise in some games just because everyone wants to beat him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So let's see. So D4 against Jan Nepomniachtchi. What can you say about Jan?
yeah, Jan is the was 2 times the World Championship challenger against Magnus and then Ding. He came very close, in particular against Ding, but lost both matches, and now he is once again trying to win third candidates in a row.
Yeah, I really appreciate these kind of players because he didn't give up and he's playing and he don't don't be afraid to play and also to lose and he's very I admire him for this kind of
Absolutely,
yeah,
very inspiring by him.
inspiring, right?
Yeah.
So let's see the opening. D4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5.
Yeah, so Jan goes for the so-called Carlsbad structure after if white takes on d5 and then black perhaps takes back with the e pawn.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that was his plan. But yeah, this is the main line, and now e3. There's a lot of theory here, but Abasov chose to play bishop g5 directly, a slightly more calm approach.
Mm-hmm. For the first round, right?
Yeah, and I think he actually used this line to win a rapid game against Giri in the World Cup. One of the matches he won against a very strong opponent. And yeah, Nepomniachtchi continues very solidly with bishop e7, e3, h6. Yeah, now takes on c4, a small surprise. I think this capture, usually black plays castles, maybe d7 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's some kind of a modern theory that basically the computers kind of laugh about the opening development and say, okay, we can take on c4 directly, allow white to take back, and black is still doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
After c5, followed by some exchange on d4 and c6. Yeah, both sides castle, and black has some pressure against the isolated pawn on d4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, Nepo goes for a move a6 here, which I think maybe came as a surprise to Abasov.
Maybe knight h5, right?
Yeah, I think that's the main move. That's the typical idea, to exchange the dark sword bishops, and knight takes e7,
Mm-hmm.
followed by knight f6, and yeah, maybe b6, bishop b7.
Yeah.
Black should be doing okay. But a6, I think, came as a small surprise, and Nepo just very quickly managed to equalize completely here.
Mm-hmm.
White went rook c1, b5, now bishop to b7, and it made the impression that Nepo completely solved his opening problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black seems to be doing
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And Abasov kind of went for just simplifying the game with bishop f6 and d5. It's kind of a decision which signals that he basically wants to shut down the game.
Yeah. Knight d5, as you can see, bishop b2 is not working because rook takes c6, bishop takes c6, and knight e7, followed by take on c6, and two pieces for the rook. So knight a5, and it seems that only endgame will bring this draw to an endgame. Bishop f3 takes, g takes f3.
Yeah, looks very equalish.
Yeah, take, and
I was wondering, can black go queen g6 instead of
here, right?
Yeah, is this an interesting move? Maybe. But there's bishop c2 perhaps, yeah, and
Bishop c2, yeah, maybe f5.
But that's a bit too much. Yeah,
A bit too
very
much.
risky. Very
Knight h4, rook e7, maybe can, yeah.
very weakening.
Yeah. No, so black wants to draw this. Rook d8, takes, bishop d5. Of course, also this knight.
Yeah, and here black has this kind of symbolic advantage thanks to the pawn structure, the doubled white pawns, but it's never enough to win the game. Yeah, he put the rook on the e5, cutting off the black king. The repeated moves.
Yeah. So Abasov in the first round succeeded to do a draw with Jan Nepomniachtchi, and it's good sign for him, right? It's good result for the first game in this.
Yeah, I was wondering, because on the one hand, yes. On the other hand, I thought that Nepo equalized so easily in this game after months of preparation for this tournament, and in a way, it looks like Abasov didn't manage to bring to the table anything special with white. So yeah, draw is a good result, but the way was a bit.
Yeah.
It's okay. First round, normal, but
right. Yeah, I agree.
A bit early to draw any conclusion from this.
Yeah. Let's jump to the second game, and we have here Alireza Firouza against Praggnanandhaa.
Yeah, this was one of the most exciting games of the round, I believe.
So e4, Firouza from France, Praggnanandhaa from India, our talented grandmaster. That we would like to see him playing good games and maybe to win this tournament.
Yeah, and we have to talk a little bit about the ways they made it to the candidates. So Firouza basically qualified by rating in a slightly unusual way. When at the very end of December he went to play some open tournament in France in order to gain a few rating points and take over the one rating spot. There was some controversy about it, and Praggnanandhaa qualified by
World Cup, right?
Yeah, finishing second in the World Cup after losing the final against Magnus.
So let's see the Spanish. Bishop e4 and knight f6, castle, knight takes e4.
You know something about this opening?
A little bit. Knight takes e4, so the open Spanish by Praggnanandhaa, d4, b5, bishop b3, d5, take on e5, bishop e6.
Yeah, we also have to mention that Praggnanandhaa's second in the tournament is none other than Peter Svidler, the 8-time Russian champion, very well-known top player, legend, and he's their second in Praggnanandhaa, and might have a crucial touch in his opening preparation, I guess.
Yeah. Of course, we really like Peter Svidler. He's a very good person, and and we wish him all the best in this tournament with Prague.
Definitely.
So c3 here, there are a lot of moves. Knight bd2, for example, knight c5, c3, d4. There are a lot of things. Also bishop e7, bishop c2, d4, knight b3, d3, bishop b2, bishop b1, or maybe knight c5. Also a lot of variations. But Firouza goes to c3. And now bishop e7. I think bishop c5 is the main idea, right? Is the main line here. Bishop c5.
Yeah, there is this line where black sacrifices on f2, right? After
Yeah.
knight d2, castles, bishop c2, is it?
I think like this, takes, and f6, right?
Yeah, and there were a lot of theoretical discussions in this line, including in the last candidates. There was again Nakamura against Caruana in this very position, which Nakamura ended up winning with the white pieces.
Yeah.
So very interesting line.
Yeah. So c3 played, bishop e7, bishop c2. Also in this position, I think I remember knight bd2, but
yeah, I think bishop c2 was kind of a modern line, some kind of a way to play a different move order and try to surprise black a bit. Of course, Praggnanandhaa was well prepared with bishop g4. I think this is like the main line here nowadays.
Queen e1.
Yeah, that's a slightly surprising move. Also, I think not new, but kind of very modern approach to this position. Of course, approved by the engines.
Knight c5, knight bd2, knight e6. Seems logical because the d4 square is very important for black and also for white, because after knight d2, for example, castle, I think knight d4 is one of the best moves here. Also f4 will come, f5 maybe, knight f3, and all the pieces are going in good directions. Knight e6, king h1. This is a little bit surprise for me, right?
Yeah, king h1 is definitely a surprising move. What's the point of king h1?
What's the point? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like, considering the way the game went, soon, I mean, let's say black went bishop h5, which is also a slightly mysterious move. But again, approved by the engine, so clearly preparation by both players. And now Firouza played knight b3. And I guess part of the point of king h1 is after bishop takes f3, g takes, the g file is open and the rook is ready to enter some attacking position on g1.
Yeah. Now after g takes f3, the point that f4 is very annoying for black. So f4, f5, and it's really attacking here. So bishop g5 must play. Rook g1 takes with a knight. What do you think about this move? Maybe rook takes c1 is a little bit more interesting.
But I assume he wanted to reroute the knight like via c1, d3 to get it maybe to a slightly more central position.
Yeah.
I think up to this point, Firouza was playing very quickly his moves. Praggnanandhaa, I think, started to take his time.
Yeah, here. Yeah. 40 minutes, as you can see here. 40 minutes. 14. For the move queen h4. And
let's try to understand what was wrong with castling. If he begins with castles, how can white?
Maybe queen e3, queen h6.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, the queen gets very active and also supports the f4 advance. Yeah.
But now queen h4.
Maybe knight e2 or some way trying to get
knight e2.
To get
Yes.
f4.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks quite scary for black.
So queen h4, it's like prophylactic here.
Yeah.
Prophylactic move.
Making it a bit harder for white to get queen e3 and f4. And
yeah. Queen e3, for example, here maybe d4, maybe rook d8, d4. This is maybe the point, but really interesting. Queen h4, rook g4, and also I think maybe queen h4 immediately it's a little bit surprising because he wants to be like flexible, maybe to castle long, maybe in some ways.
Yeah, keeping in reserve some more options.
Yeah. Rook g4, queen h5, knight e3, castle, queen e2.
Yeah, this was an interesting moment because I remember when I was watching the game, the engine was pointing out that queen e3 was a better square for the queen, and I'm not sure exactly why, but perhaps after rook g1 and f4, the queen might be better placed on e3 compared with e2. But these are exactly the small nuances that are very difficult to figure out during the game. Yeah? Once your preparation is over, you have to play on your own. You know the general plan to bring the rook to g1 to attack, but such small decisions like where to put the queen, they can be very crucial decisions and very tough to figure out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree exactly. So queen e2 played f5. F5, e takes, rook takes.
Yeah.
Now maybe rook h6 is the threat, right?
Yeah, he basically finds a way to bring his rooks to the game.
Yeah? F4. F4. Yeah. What white wants to do? Interesting move. Maybe, as you can see, the knight can't go from, like from e6 because rook takes g7 and queen takes h5. So black is playing rook h6, also threatening checkmate in one and also protecting the queen.
Yeah, and I think this is the point behind f4. The next move he played f3.
F3.
Basically opening a path for the queen to cover the h2 square.
Yeah. Rook f8, queen f2. This is a little bit weird,
yeah,
right?
This move was actually very weird. I remember watching it live and I was wondering which move he might play here.
G1, right?
Yeah, maybe rook g1, maybe rook e1, maybe a4 to try to create some threat on the queen side. And Firouza was thinking for a very long time here, and then chose queen f2 after thinking
35 minutes. 35 minutes. It's unbelievable. I did the research about the moves that grandmasters are playing above than 20 minutes per move, and my decision was that every move that we are playing above 20 minutes is or wrong move or we will lose the game because we don't have time for the next moves, and it's maybe not the exact example of it, but queen f2 it's very weird.
Yeah, it's a slightly it feels like a slightly indecisive move. Like he was not sure exactly what to do, and eventually it feels like he decided to play some kind of a mysterious move, maybe waiting to see what black is planning to do, and then decide where to put his rook.
Yeah.
But such moves are usually just too deep to be good. Yeah. It's not a bad move, but it feels a bit not in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think something like rook g1 or rook e1 would have been more challenging for black. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And now Praggnanandhaa came up with a very strong plan. Some small regroupment of his pieces, which was actually very, very nice.
Rook f6. And the point is that he wants to put the queen on f7, and the next move will be rook h5 and rook h6. You can see the queen is coming to cover the knight on e6 and also the king, the black's king, and the two rooks will be on h5.
Exactly, and this way the black pieces are getting into some perfect harmony.
a4, rook h6, rook e2, makes sense, rook h3, queen e1, rook takes f3, and a lot of tactics is going on here, right?
Yeah, rook takes f3 I think is a very bold decision by Praggnanandhaa, because it's not clear why can't you capture this pawn on f3. It's a pawn for free, but it feels kind of very dangerous. Maybe the rook might get trapped on f3, maybe the white will get some initiative on the e file. But I really like this move because it shows the courage of a player like Praggnanandhaa, and in general the players of the younger generation. They are just not afraid. I mean, he's ready to take on f3. He's calculating. He's not afraid of any knight jumps, any attack on the e file. If he believes it's good, he's gonna play it.
Yeah. And in this situation you see 4 minutes for Firouza and 10 minutes for Praggnanandhaa, and I must say that the time like the time in this game is until 40 moves we have 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And after and without increment, right?
Yeah, without an extra 30 seconds per move.
So in this situation Firouza has 4 minutes and 43 seconds for 11 moves. It's not an easy thing to handle, and he's playing knight c5.
Yeah, that's a small trick. Of course, black cannot capture.
Yes, and it's checkmate. So queen h5, threatening the g4 rook, and also avoiding rook e6 because queen h2 checkmate. So knight takes e6, queen g4.
And actually, I think instead of knight takes e6, Firouza missed a chance here to a good winning chance with the move rook eg2, just increasing the pressure down the g line in front of the g7 pawn. And suddenly knight takes e6 is a threat. And
yes, after knight c5, check, check, check here, and this is the mate, right? Yeah, of course, this is the mate. So yeah, rook g2 is very interesting move for white. Yeah.
Yeah, and here Prague would have to find some very tough defense, but possibly this would have been quite difficult for him.
Mm-hmm. But but as we already saw that Firouza don't have so much time, so he played the very fast. Oh no, yeah, 1.5 minutes he spent and take on e6, queen g4, knight g5, and maybe here he thought about rook e8 will win the game, right? Because the king on h1 is like extremely safe.
Yeah, and he must have thought that he's winning. Yeah, probably he was expecting rook e8 to be just a winning threat.
Yeah.
And maybe he calculated a really cute line here.
Which one? What about this one?
Yeah, this is one very, very cute idea.
Yeah. Take, and checkmate, right?
Right. Yeah. And there's another very cute variation, which I'm sure he must have seen. If black goes rook takes f4, trying to cover with rook f8, here comes a very beautiful move for white. Only one winning move. If you want, you can stop the video and try to find it yourself.
3, 2, 1. Queen f2. Queen f2, and I think it's winning, right? Because, for example, rook f6, bishop h7, king h8, and this is a checkmate. So it's really beautiful. And of course, after rook takes e8, we have this checkmate.
Yeah.
So that's it for this one. So
and I'm almost sure that he calculated it and must have thought it's winning. But now Prague finds a brilliant move, brilliant defense.
Knight e5. Wow, what a defense. So after f takes, you see that queen g5 is already winning for black. And what was in the game? Rook takes e5, rook takes h2, king takes, and checks, and 3-time checks.
Yeah, black delivers a perpetual check here.
And the game is over in a draw. So the second draw in this first round.
And at the end of this game, they repeated moves, and watching the live stream, it felt like both of them don't want to finish the game. They kept on playing the moves, and it felt like both of them felt a bit disappointed that they didn't win the game. So it was a really brilliant fight by these two amazing players.
Yeah. So let's jump to one more game. Fabiano Caruana against his countryman Hikaru Nakamura. As you already know, Hikaru Nakamura, one of the best blitz and bullet players in all time, I think. And Fabiano Caruana, what can we say? It's very strong grandmaster. Maybe one of the favorite to win this tournament.
Yeah, and basically they qualified Fabiano by basically any way possible, and Nakamura by finishing in the second place in the Grand Swiss tournament. And it's quite interesting because I think Fabiano, he's fighting in the candidates tournament already for many years. He's been also a World Championship challenger in 2019. I think he really wants to get a shot at the world title. While Nakamura keeps on saying he likes his streaming career, he doesn't care. He just wants to have fun. I'm sure he does care, but anyway, it's a very interesting fight.
Yeah. So e4, another e4 in this tournament. E4, c5, knight f3, d6, takes, knight f6, knight c3, and now he came with very interesting move, e5.
Yeah, total shock.
Yeah, total shock, and I must admit that I need to think about it because e5 is really amazing.
Yeah, basically no Naidov, no
Rouser, no Dracon.
Yeah, just directly e5. When I went to a chess class when I was very young, I was taught that e5 is a terrible move because it allows white to go bishop d5 check, and whatever way black blocks on d7, the knight jumps on f5. The knight is beautiful on f5, and that's it. White is much better. And now comes Nakamura and plays it with black in the candidates.
Yeah. A6, bishop a4, and b5. And you must see that Caruana in the eighth move already with 18 minutes below, right? So it's really interesting to see that Fabiano thought about this opening. He don't remember here quite good.
Yeah. By the way, one more line. I'm sure he tried to remember his preparation here. And after a6, there's another line which goes bishop takes d7 check, queen takes, and then bishop g5. It looks very, very scary for black. And the line here goes knight takes e4, knight takes g7 check, and then knight takes e4. And here black basically castles, sacrificing the pawn on d6. And after queen takes d6, they go f6 and defend this kind of miserable endgame down a pawn, but with a pair of bishops.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that Nakamura was very much ready to show his defensive skills in this endgame. So maybe Caruana was considering going here, but decided to pick a different line.
Yeah. So bishop b3, knight c5, bishop g5, take on e5, on f5, sorry, take, and bishop e7. And it seems that maybe Nakamura was very happy to get this position.
Even though it's a very ugly position.
Yes, it's very ugly position, but it seems that his time is showing that he was confident with this position. Take on f6, take on f6, and castle, and e4, and he's half an hour above Caruana in this position.
Yeah, and the e4 I think is a very, very important move because black really, really needs badly to open the diagonal for the bishop on f6. Imagine that pawn would stay on e4 on e5, and white would be able to set a blockade on the e4 square. Yeah, with something like bishop d5, knight e4, that bishop on f6 would be just dead.
Yeah.
While the white bishop would be amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So e4 is a must, and clearly still preparation.
E4, knight takes, rook e1, castle, take, bishop b2, rook b1, and bishop f6.
How would you evaluate this position?
Really good question.
From a human perspective.
I think probably white is a little bit better because the bishop on b3 is like is looking about very important pawn, right, on f7, and this bishop on f6 is not doing this, right, because the pawn on f2 is fine.
Yeah, basically to me it looks like a horrible position for black at first sight because really the difference between the two bishops is so striking.
Yeah.
But clearly Nakamura was very ready to play this position and to just defend it. And you mentioned the pawn on f2, and quite amazingly, he did actually manage to target this pawn, as we will see very soon.
Yeah. So queen d5, rook c8. I think also one of the important things that the pawn on c2 and the pawn on a2 is a little bit weak, and black has this square on c5 and also and also on c3. Like in what is it's not working here. Yes, on c5 and on c3 for the rook, and maybe it's good for black, right? Because queen b7, rook c5, take here, take on f5, rook d1, d5, yeah, and rook b4, bishop c5.
White is about to win the pawn on b5, but now Nakamura goes for some active counterplay.
Yeah, rook takes b5, rook takes f2.
Boom.
Wow, what is going on? What about king takes?
Yes, I think rook f2 came as a total surprise to Caruana. Not sure if he had expected this to happen. And yeah, it's a good question. King takes f2. What's going on?
King takes f2, queen h4 check, right? I assume. King where to g1?
Yeah, if the king goes to the e5, it will get just made.
Yeah. So king g1, bishop d4, king h1, and bishop e5 probably, right?
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. Yeah, the king is being pushed to the corner, but then suddenly bishop e5, and it's actually weak on the corner.
Yeah. But what about g3?
Yeah, takes probably.
I'm not sure about this position.
Yeah, basically white is up a full rook, and black needs to continue attacking.
Yeah, maybe queen e4, rook g2, bishop f2, and this is a threat.
Yeah, he can also give a direct perpetual, yeah, with queen e1.
Yeah,
at least
this draw, right?
Yeah, and also I'm wondering maybe he could somehow get the rook on e8 to attack maybe a bit earlier, like after Yeah, rook d2, maybe rook e8, is that a move? Or is it too slow?
Maybe.
There might be a trick.
Yeah, maybe a trick. Queen,
Yeah.
rook e2.
The black king is also weak on the back rank, yeah?
Yeah, maybe. So rook d5 was played by Caruana after 10 minutes. Yes, I think rook f2 was shocking for Fabi.
Yeah.
Queen h4, queen d3, rook f6.
Yeah, rook f6 I think is a nice move, a nice little move, because he, rather than defending his bishop, he just creates the threat of queen f2, queen f1. This is a puzzle rush mate.
Puzzle rush mate, 100%, right. So
I'm sure this position will go into some puzzle rush.
yeah. G3 was played, queen b4, king g2, bishop b2.
Yeah, I think this was kind of a very critical moment in this game, because now white is doing quite well. A pawn up, his king is quite safe, and he can definitely try to convert his advantage slowly but surely, trying to push the a pawn, maybe target f7. And it's a question how to do it. What's the best way to continue improving the position? And Caruana played a very natural move, rook to f5, just trying to exchange rooks to kind of reduce black's activity. And it turned out that this move actually made life much easier for Nakamura. Somehow, after the rooks were exchanged, suddenly black's defense became much easier.
Yeah.
In a quite counterintuitive way. And yeah, it turns out he had to keep the rooks on the board and to try to go rook d7 rather than rook f5.
Yes. It's not so logical, right?
Yeah, it's
really difficult to understand.
Yeah, because rook f5 is such a natural move, yeah, especially with little time on the clock.
Yeah. Yeah, 9 minutes for 10 moves. It's really not simple. a4, king g7, a5, and now rook a8. Wow.
Yeah, that's a
brilliant move. After queen takes queen e2, and it's a proportional here, right? So rook d5 was played, rook a7.
Another problem is that the a5 pawn is easily controlled by the black rook.
Yeah.
And suddenly even the white king is a bit weak, and yeah, black just easily equalizes eventually.
Yeah. So this position, it's a draw, and Nakamura offered the draw, and Fabi agree to his friend from United States.
I'm not sure they are such good friends. But
I hope. Okay, so let's move to the last game of this tournament, of this round. Gukesh against Vidit, two also friends from India.
Friends and rivals, maybe.
Yes, rivals maybe.
But yeah, and both of them basically they qualified in different ways. Vidit qualified by winning the Grand Swiss, a very impressive result, and Gukesh qualified by basically winning or taking second place after Caruana in the FIDE circuit. So yeah, both of them very strong players.
Let's see what happened in the opening. So
we have some kind of a Tarash here, yeah?
Tarash, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
E3 was played by Gukesh.
Yeah, actually wondering if Gukesh would take on d5, would Vidit take back, or would he go for this pawn sacrifice variation?
Yeah.
We might see in the future rounds.
Yeah, maybe it will be here. Also queen a5, queen a4. It's a move, takes, and knight f6. There are a lot of variation. Queen b7 also a move. Queen d1 is probably the best. And Gukesh is playing e3 in this position. Knight f6, knight f3, knight c6. It's like symmetrical position. a3. I think a lot of games were like this, and now d takes c5. The point that after bishop takes c5, b4 is the move, and now after bishop d6 was a surprising move, right?
Yeah, Gukesh came up with a very creative idea here. Not totally new, but very interesting and creative move. Instead of
sorry, oh no. Yes, okay, let's see. Sorry. Rook a2. Wow, what is the point?
Yeah, instead of developing some normally like bishop b2 or bishop e2, he just develops the rook first. usually you should develop bishops and castle first, but he decides to develop the rook,
Yeah.
and his point is to swing the rook over to the d file, rook a2 to d2.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting idea, trying to put pressure on the d5 pawn, which makes sense because black has his bishop and queen on the d file, so why not? Yeah.
Yeah. And now Vidit thought about 4 minutes and played the move knight e5. It's really interesting to see that Gukesh thought about 3 minutes on this move rook a2, and now knight e5 was played by Vidit.
But I think they were still both following preparation. I think at this point of the game, when they spend a few minutes, it's mainly about making sure, recalling their analysis.
Yeah.
Because you cannot play a move like knight e5 within 3 minutes without knowing it.
I agree with you. Yeah, 100%. So rook d2 was played, take on f3, g takes f3, castle. Bishop b2, I think it's very logical.
It's dangerous for black. No, white wants rook g1, some attack down the g file. The bishop from b2 is eyeing the g7 square. It feels visually very dangerous. But Vidit found a very nice solution.
a5, after 20 minutes, you see, 20 minutes exactly, a5 was found by Vidit. C takes d5, e5.
That's a nice move, e5.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's good, but it's a very impressive move. Just basically shutting down the diagonal for the bishop on b2, sacrificing a full pawn, but now white is not going to attack.
Yeah.
There was also an interesting option to capture on b4. What would happen?
A takes b4, maybe a takes b4.
But then bishop.
Bishop takes, maybe, yeah. Maybe it's good. D takes e6, queen goes to a5, maybe.
Total chaos.
Yeah, it's really, I'm not sure about this position. For black or also for white, I'm not sure.
I would feel really good with black.
With black, right.
Very worried with white.
Yes. Like this, something like this.
Suddenly the white king is going to be under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really no, I'm not sure about e5, yeah.
Maybe after a takes before, he's planning to capture on e6.
On e6, yeah. B takes c3, e takes f7, or maybe rook d6. Immediately queen c7. I'm not sure.
Takes on f7, gate 8 perhaps. And what is this? I have to say it looks very dangerous for white.
Very dangerous for white.
Yeah, because the pawn on c3 is a huge pawn.
Yeah? Yes. It's really a beast here.
I mean, white has to move back with his bishop to a1 or c1, and then
bishop maybe to f5.
Yeah. And black has fantastic development. His king is safe. The white king is stuck in the center.
Yeah, really strange. Why?
And we love them.
Yes, we love them. Two bishops is our love in chess. So yeah, he played e5. e5, knight b5, take on b4, take on d6, queen takes, queen takes, queen c2.
Yeah, queen c2 was slightly surprising to me, because bishop takes e5 looks very natural, just to take this pawn.
What about knight e4?
Wow, that's a nice one.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
What's going on after takes, queen takes, double attack, yeah?
But what about this one?
Oh, more tactics, yeah? Queen takes, rook, bishop takes, bishop h3, can black go? This is just winning, yeah? Because queen e2, rook a1.
Yeah, rook a1. Rook a1 and bishop takes. Oh, sorry, what is going on? Yeah, and I have some problems here in chess.com, but maybe like this here exactly. First capturing and yeah. So here it's really strange. Bishop e5, yeah, maybe.
So queen c2 was maybe to defend against knight e4, yeah? Maybe that was his point.
Yeah. Maybe this was the point. So queen c2 is preventing this knight e4. Bishop g4. Wow.
Yeah.
What is this move?
That's a shocking move.
Shocking move. What if I take this one?
Yeah, I guess his point is to jump knight e4, or maybe to start with the rook c8 first and then knight
rook f c8. Where I can put my queen. b1 for b1 knight e4, yeah. d1.
Maybe rook a2 can be.
Maybe also knight e4.
Yeah, also, yeah.
Knight e4, yeah. And all the pieces, all black pieces are just brilliant.
Basically.
Yeah, it seems lost.
Yeah, just crushing again the white pieces, the white king.
So bishop g4, wow, crazy move.
Yeah, an amazing move.
And he thought about 40 minutes
Yeah,
about
it
this
took
move.
a
Wow.
long time for this move to come up with this brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And I think luckily for Gukesh, he had the opportunity to still survive by basically
Escape from this attacking, yeah?
yeah. So bishop c3, queen a3. What happens if white takes the bishop here? Still rook c8, yeah.
Yeah, probably a rook fc8.
And the bishop is gone.
Yeah, queen b2, for example, take on c3 with the rook or the queen, like something like this, and this endgame looks good for black.
Yeah, it looks still dangerous. Yeah, the white king is still not entirely safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knight e4 will follow.
And rook in1.
Yeah. So bishop b2, and as you can see, proportional with the queen and the bishop, and the two Indians, brilliant grandmasters, agreed to a draw in this first round. So we have 4 draws. Wow.
Yeah, a very calm start to the tournament, but it's not the case of like 4 draws with some boring games. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of the games were extremely exciting, interesting, very fighting chess by everyone. You see this bishop g4 move here, clearly indicating that Vidit was here for a big fight, and everyone else, yeah, the opening choices, you could definitely see that the players were very ambitious.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally I agree with you, and I think this will be our first round in this tournament, in this candidates tournament. It's, I think, is maybe the most important tournament in the year. I recommend you all follow this YouTube channel. We will continue to add the videos for the second round,
If you
third
still
round.
didn't press subscribe, rush and do it now.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Ori, for
Nitzan.
helping and join me in this session. And that's it.
Yeah, and we'll keep on watching more exciting rounds of the candidates.
Yeah. And let's go Prague. Let's go Prague. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye everyone.